Hi guys, welcome back to Winsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so excited that you decided to join me today. We are still in the city, as you can see. We've been here for the last couple videos, chipping away at my plant hoard, trying to get things in the ground as we get closer to the end of our gardening season. I am in West Michigan, it's zone 5B. My first frost date typically doesn't happen for another couple weeks, but this year we've already actually had one. It was a really light frost. Got another frost warning for tonight, also really light. There wasn't much damage last time. There was actually 2 or 3 frosts this week that we had warnings, and I think we only got one of them at my house. But it was pretty light. Everything looks good, so I'm just trying to work as fast as I can to get things in the ground before it's a little too late. But I've been doing a really good job, and I think in this video it's going to be the last of my plant hoard for the city garden this year, which is thrilling. I know you guys, if you've been following this journey, know that I'd had my plant hoard down to a really manageable level, and then I went somewhere where they had a plant sale and they had deals I really couldn't pass up, and I had money left in my plant budget, so kind of went to town, mostly with ground covers. So in this video we are actually going to be finishing the ground cover edition for this year. I should probably add up how many different types we've planted, but I cannot wait to see how these fill in the next few years. And in this video we're going to be adding 3 more to the back inside yards. I thought we'd finish it last time, really didn't get it done. But today we will. We are also going to be planting a heuchera and a heucherella in the front yard. I've got some places in mind for those, and there's 2 other plants that I have that are technically part of my plant hoard that I'm not going to be planting in their final resting place today. One of them is a blueberry bush that I honestly hadn't planned on picking up this year. Blueberries you need more than 1 plant for. I have 2 blueberry bushes in my yard, but one of them actually died out this year. It had been eaten last year, like by a rabbit, right at the tail end of the season, and it didn't do well in the winter. It had kind of made a comeback, only to be eaten back to a nub again this year. So I haven't pulled it out. I'm waiting to see if maybe miracle of miracles it survives, but I did pick up a second blueberry. There were no blueberries this year with nothing to cross-pollinate it. The blue crop blueberry, it's one of my favorites, but now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more critically, where it had these bushes is probably not a great place for them. So instead of just, ripping things out, I'm going to go actually heal this into the ground so it can winter over in a better place. The other plant that I'm also going to be wintering over, like in a healed in position, is actually a peony that I actually have had it for a long time. I bought it on clearance at Lowe's back in the spring because it's a variety that's got a really great scent that I want to add to my yard. But the area that it's going is an area I'm going to rejig a little bit next year. I thought I was going to do it this year and I've just run out of time. So rather than rush that project when I'm not ready for it, it too is going to be healed in. And that's really it for the rest in this yard. So I think what we'll do first is plant, I have some vinca that we're going to be adding to 2 of the side beds. And I think that's what we're going to get in the ground first. Then we'll plant out the 2 other ground covers. I'll show you where everything ended up before we kind of flip to some of the larger perennials. all of the ground covers are in. And you also probably saw me heel in the 2 plants that I'm wintering over here. But before I go show you that, let's walk around and I'll give you some more details about the ground covers we added. We are under the redbud tree and I added 3 more ajuga. Now I've actually added some of these already to the yard over there. And I had 3 more that I thought I'd put in the front. But after I added stuff to the front, I couldn't find a good spot for these, and I thought, you know what, I really want to get some stuff started at the back of this bed. So this is ajuga, also known as bugleweed, and this one is burgundy glow. And it has just the most beautiful variegation with a lot of like light tones and sage, but also that purpley pink that I just absolutely love. These really are like sun shade, part sun or shade, so I think they will do well here. They grow to about 6 inches tall and will get about 12 inches wide, and they are hardy in zones 3 through 8. So I think this will be just a really pretty sweep as you walk around this way, which actually leads us to the second ground cover we planted today. Here we go. This is another one. Well, there's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. It's another one I thought I was going to plant in the front, but anywhere I thought to put it just already had grassy texture, so I thought I would bring it back here and start something new in this area since we don't really have anything like that here. This is a Splendens thrift, which let me just show you the picture. That is how it blooms. Isn't that just so sweet? It will bloom in the late spring, early summer, and it likes full sun locations. It'll get about 8 to 10 inches tall and 15 inches wide, and it is hardy in zones 4 through 8. So I think that'll be really pretty here. I've already decided I'm going to be pulling up the daisies. It's not something that I want to kind of keep in my yard at this point, so that'll be coming up, and we'll make some space for other things in there. But for now, I think you may have seen I added a wire cloche over one of the rhizomes we planted because it kept getting, oh, it's hard to see in the sun. There's a iris rhizome in there, and it just kept getting upended by a rabbit that lives in my yard. So give it some protection to root in and some pretty companions in this area. Speaking of pretty companions, look at this pretty baby. Final ground cover we added today. We actually added in here and then around the bed. So I'll kind of point out where I added it. Bed, I'd like to get some more ground covers in. Now you might look at this right now and be like, well, that's pretty full. This is one of the worst beds that gets weeds. So I wanted to add this ground cover to help stamp it out. Vinca is really pretty because it has like the deep, the ones I had have been cut back, but they're typically like a deep glossy lining with periwinkle purple flowers in the spring that are just so darling. They are great in sun or shade. They get 4 to 8 inches tall and about 8 to 12 inches wide, though to be honest, I think they just keep spreading. So I don't really, that 8 to 12, I don't really consider it. And it's hardy down to zone 3. So love, there's 3 in this little section. 1, 2, 3. And then as we go through the garden gate, there's 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. And then we've got 1 back there, 1 there, 1 right there, and 3 over here. 1, 2, 3. So I think in the last video this happened and I did mention all of this grassy stuff is actually grape hyacinth. I don't know why it came up right now, but that's why I'm not pulling it. And while we are here, I'll show you what I did over here. Now, this is an area that I need to address at some point. I just haven't figured out what to do with it. But for now, I created 2 holes that I sunk them in their pots and all because I don't really want them to put out too much roots. I just want to keep them nice and insulated. So stick them in here. They're going to be all ready to go if it gets too cold too quick. I'll actually cut this peony back sooner rather than later since it has powdery mildew. And they'll just live the winter here. Both of these guys are zone 4. So they should be okay. The general rule of thumb is if you're wintering in containers, you want to go at least 2 zones colder. So they're marginal if I hadn't sunk them, but by doing this, I'm hoping this provides just that little extra they need to manage this winter. So this is a blue crop blueberry, and this guy is a Sarah Bernhardt double peony that will be planting in different areas next spring. Now let us head out front to get the 2 other plants planted. We've got a heuchera and a heucherella that I've got, I think, a really good spot for. Here are where the 2 heuchera ended up. I did decide to plant that one here rather than take it to the cottage. This one is a Fun and Games I Spy heuchera by Proven Winners. It's got a really pretty variegation in its leaf, and actually it should be a little more darker once it kind of settles into its space. I'd actually had a Hakanakloa here that didn't do well. I've left it in there because it had one little sprig. I thought about taking it out and taking it to the cottage, but I thought I'd see if it came back before I dug it out. This is a zone 4 through 9. It'll grow 8 to 10 inches tall and about 16 to 20 inches wide. This little cloche is only here as its iris roots in, so I'm hoping it will do well. And this one is very autumnal colored and appropriately named Pumpkin Spice. And this is a heucherella, technically. So that's a mix between a heuchera and a tiarella. So this is a center shade. It'll get 8 to 10 inches tall and 16 to 20 inches wide. It is also a zones 4 through 9. And it's got like a really pretty variegation of color that I thought would look nice against the spirea. You know what? I think that is all we're going to get planted today. That was actually the last of the plants in my plant hoard. Oh, you know what? That is a lie. These are just ferns that I'm going to put at the side of my house. So let's quick go get those in the ground. And then that'll be at the side of my house, which is kind of a no man's land, where I thought I'd get these ferns started because it's the north side, it's between buildings, it doesn't get any sun, but I'd love to get something naturalizing to prevent weeds from coming. So this is actually the backyard. A different view. You can see my poor little air conditioner being overtaken. I need to talk to this neighbor about getting the stuff on their side a little more controlled. I mean, I'd like to do it, and I don't blame them in any way. They don't see it, they don't know about it. I just have to say something. But you'll see, that's the backyard. Maisie now knows where we are, so she'll probably come watch me right here. I've got to do some cutting back because I got some trees started, and I need to kind of get them gone. But I thought what I would do is just kind of create a little spot here that these ferns will go in. And we'll get them naturalized. This is just, as I said, no man's land. Last 2 plants. Ferns are pretty shallow rooted, so I just kind of pulled back the mulch and got them in there. And I think over time they'll actually populate this whole area. Okay, and now that is finally it. The last of the plants in the plant are planted. It looks a mess, but you can see my plant space is empty, and honestly, those are annuals. I have no perennials in pots here anymore. They're all in the ground or on their way up to the cottage, which is just exciting. I think I do obviously have tidying up and watering in and grass cutting left to do tonight. But I'm really excited that we've got everything in the ground. I feel that's what I wanted to get done today, because the clock just keeps ticking, and it's hard to find time to get these projects done. So I'm glad that they are. And I'm really looking forward to being able to see how things fill in the next few years, particularly the ground covers. I think that they're going to add a full, like my garden is already full, but I think they will add a luxurious fullness where you're not seeing so much mulch, where I'm not having to use so much mulch. And it'll help with weed suppression and everything else while looking fantastic. So I am just thrilled with everything we got in this video and the last couple videos, and I'm really grateful that you decided to join us. We've got a couple more videos similar to this because we're going to be headed up to the cottage in the next video. I've got some plants already on their way on a truck with my dad that we took out here to find homes for there. And we also have a whole plant hoard to get into the ground there. So that's going to be a big push on my next trip. And I'm thinking there'll be another 2 or 3 videos there, which will be really exciting to kind of diminish the other plant hoard and just round out the garden with things that some of which we've had for a while, some of which are brand new, all of which I'm excited to get in the ground. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you liked this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so you can keep watching this garden's journey for this year and the years to come. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.